Mike, I want to add another stop to our future world travels.
Okay. Feeling like a pirate?
What?
Because things are going to get salty, me hearty.
Okay.
Because today we're traveling to the Dead Sea, one of the Earth's most interesting bodies of water.
It is, and you may think, how could a body of water be interesting? I promise this one is. The Dead Sea is located in the Jordan River Valley. It's bordered by Jordan, Israel, and the West Bank. That puts it at the crossroads of a whole lot of history, but let's talk about its physical properties first.
All right.
The Dead Sea sits some 1,412 feet below sea level, and its shores mark the lowest land elevation on Earth. This low area was caused by a series of rifts in the Earth's crust that has left a range of depressed areas in the region. They're not sad, they're just lower than the other areas.
It might be sad because they're lower than the others. I don't know.
Be sad.
The Dead Sea is nearly 1,000 feet deep and is the deepest hypersaline lake on Earth, with a salinity of 34.2% as of 2011. Now, to put it into context, this makes it 9.6 times as salty as the ocean and one of the saltiest bodies of water in the world. You would not want to take a drink.
This high level of salt means that there is little life present, hence the name Dead Sea.
That's not to say there's no life. In the Dead Sea, minuscule traces of both bacteria and fungi have been found, and during the region's rainy winters, algae can tint the water red, which I'm sure only helps with the Dead Sea
Oh,
name.
gosh, yeah.
We spoke a lot more about this phenomenon of the algae changing color of water in episode 102, and there'll be a link to that in the show notes.
Pink lakes. It's a fascinating phenomenon to me. The water in the Dead Sea is generally stratified into two layers. The lower is cooler, denser, older, and saltier water, usually. But in the late 70s, development along the Jordan River, which feeds fresh water into the Dead Sea, had increased, and that meant that the water coming into it had decreased. This meant the top layer of water became more salty. As a result, you have less fresh water coming in and mixing in with that. So winter came, and as the upper waters cooled, the two layers basically intermixed. Now, in the decades since, the stratification has begun to redevelop.
One unusual feature of the sea is its discharge of sticky, black, semi-solid petroleum in the form of asphalt. This phenomenon has been known about for centuries, as asphalt-coated figurines and bones have been found near the sea. The ancient Egyptians imported asphalt from the sea to use in their mummification processes. You can even find small pebbles of this substance on the shores.
That seems super strange to me.
It's weird, right?
Really weird.
You can imagine in a simpler time how something like this almost felt kind of mystical.
It's like, what is this stuff that's coming out of the sea? So I mentioned a minute ago that the inbound water to the Dead Sea has decreased over time. And this has led to some problems with the sea receding from its shores. In 1930, the Dead Sea surface covered 405 square miles. But as of 2016, it measures just 233 square miles. It's really shrunk. This is due to a drop in water depth, which has been as much as 3 feet a year. This is serious stuff.
Groundwater levels have dropped in the area around the sea as well, leading to large sinkholes and gullies, mostly along the sea's western shore. To address this, Jordan put together a plan in 2009 to bring water in from the Red Sea. Some of it would be desalinated for human use, with salty water and the brine discharge from the desalination being pumped into the Dead Sea. Just put the salt right in there. Get it all in.
That's right. Dump it in there. I read a lot about how this would work, and because the Dead Sea is so low, gravity actually does a lot of the work for the project. So like they have to pump it out of the Red Sea, but then it's basically just downhill to the Dead Sea from there. This project is now backed by many other nations in the area and will cost an estimated $10 billion by the time it's completed.
What?
Major construction on the first stage is set to begin next year, but there are still many unanswered questions about the environmental impact of the project, mostly about taking water out of the Red Sea. Like, are we propping up the Dead Sea at the cost of the Red Sea and its environment?
We have to find another one that rhymes and take water from that one.
Yeah, the Bread Sea. It's crusty around the edges.
Oh dear, that's very good. There we go. Let's talk about how humans and the Dead Sea have influenced each other over the years. The Dead Sea has been a backdrop for humankind for millennia. It is referenced in the Old Testament of the Bible, as well as Greek and Roman texts, and as we mentioned, ancient Egyptians used it as well. Today, tourism and trade dominate.
Because of that high salt content that you mentioned, most people just basically float in its water, of course, making it a popular tourist destination. I've had friends who have gone to this area and been in the Dead Sea, and it really seems like no other experience you can easily have. Likewise, the salt content has made the Dead Sea a center for health research and potential treatments for centuries. Some of these examples are, let's say, more useful than others.
That said, there is some evidence that the lower elevation means higher atmospheric pressure, which may be beneficial for those with reduced respiratory functions, and that the mineral-rich mud can be used to help reduce pain and inflammation when packed against the body.
Just make sure you're using mud and not asphalt. You're caked in there real good.
It will reduce the pain, but permanently.
Yeah, your knee won't hurt because you can't bend it anymore.
Yep.
Of course, not all uses of the Dead Sea's resources are medical or for tourism. Surrounding nations harvest minerals from the sea and the surrounding areas, selling them as raw material to be used to create other products. Extraction is often done by using containers that hold thin layers of water to be evaporated by the sun, leaving behind that chunky mineral goodness.
Yum.
I'd like to thank Marcus for sending this in. The Dead Sea. Way more exciting than its name would let on.
I mean, it sounds pretty exciting, though.
It does sound pretty exciting. You mentioned this, but I'm sure that in historic times, if you will, a lot about the Dead Sea was really hard to understand. Like, why is this water different? Why are there no fish in it? What is this black stuff oozing out of the shores? It raised a lot of questions.
Yep, it is weird. It's a weird thing.
If you want to read more about the Dead Sea, we have some links on our website at relay.fm/ungenius/117. While you're there, there's some fun activities you should take part in. You can drop us an email with some of your favorite things on Wikipedia, and they'll go on the list. You can also become a member and support the show directly. Thank you to our members who support us already. Mike and I really appreciate it. You can find us on Twitter. The show is at Ungeniused. You can find Mike there as IMYKE. And you can find me on Twitter as ISMH. Until our next trip to the Jordan River Valley, Mike, say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.